obviously a very sad moment.
Yeah, it is very sad. I remember seeing him about 6 months before he left and talking about this another crazy adventure of his, and looking forward very much to the stories he'd tell as he came back, because he's nothing if not an extremely funny man, I know many of his friends will be missing those stories now.
He was trying to emulate the Shackleton expedition, which of course was a heroic failure. It didn't make it. So presumably he knew there must be considerable risk to what he was doing.
Yes, his military record is one that speaks of understanding risk, and he knew what he was doing. I don't think anybody can have appreciated quite the dangers, and to die in such a way, in such a place, is really very heartbreaking, particularly as he had just been evacuated and was in a hospital in Chile.
And we had that final broadcast from him when he talked about that summit being just out of reach. Now, heartbreakingly poignant to listen to, and particularly for those who knew him.
Yes, I mean, I think that's absolutely right. He's a man who has never backed away from a challenge, and when I met him in Afghanistan, it was as many of your listeners will know, or viewers will know, military relationships are often very short but very intense, and we worked together for a number of months in those early days before the main British forces arrived in Helmand. And he's just not somebody who ever backs away from a challenge, or he wasn't somebody who ever backed away from a challenge. And his ability to get on with people was just extraordinary. So to imagine him walking alone across the Antarctic was a feat of huge courage, not just in the physical element, which I think we can all recognise, but also in the human element, as he was a man who...
I mean, remarkable strength of mind that would have taken, that complete solitude for 71 days, as well as the physical endurance.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, he is one of the most impressive people I've ever met, and he's an extraordinary loss, not just to the army, from whom he retired not that long ago, but to our country. I mean, he really has demonstrated that the days of adventure and heroism are not dead, and our fellow citizens are really doing the most extraordinary things still.
He was raising money for charity. I think more than £100,000 was his original target, and he's passed that. At the same time, what is the point? I mean, isn't this a waste? I mean, it's not like serving in Afghanistan or something like that.
No,
is it?
I hear what you're saying, and of course it's not the same. But no, it's not a waste. I mean, I think you've got to look at the spirit of adventure that he embodied and encapsulated as part of a theme for striving for what is always better, always further, that is part of the human need. And whether that be through scientific discovery in our universities, or whether that be through adventure in these ways, what he's doing is he's part of that human experience of reaching for the stars. And, you know, as we've got scientists in this country who are now, you know, literally in the stars with Major Tim Peake, you know, he's demonstrating that our country is still very much part of that spirit of adventure that we launched in many ways in the 15th and 16th century, 16th and 17th centuries. And that opportunity to reach for what is greater than ourselves is what makes us that much more human.
Even when you do it, in a sense, artificially, I mean, you do have the option of having food drops when you try and cross the Antarctic, but he decided he wasn't going to do that. He was going to drag his sledge with him.
You do, but demonstrating the strength of the human spirit as well as the human body is about pushing it that much further. And there are many things that one could accuse Henry of, but selfishness is not one. It really isn't. He consistently gave more of himself than I think I've seen other people give in years.
And he was trying to complete the unfinished journey of Sir Ernest Shackleton, but there was also a financial aim, a financial legacy that he wanted to leave, wasn't there?
Well, and indeed, I mean, tragically, he's gone better towards achieving it in the last few hours. As I looked at the website only a little while ago, and forgive me if I may plug it.
No, please do.
It's on Virgin Money is hosting it, and it's the Shackleton solo appeal. And he's now hit 130-something thousand, and I very much hope, I mean, it's a sad legacy, but I very much hope that he will do significantly better than that.
Difficult question, but I mean, what sort of man was he to you?
He was incredibly disrespectful, incredibly funny. A brilliant soldier, I mean, really brilliant soldier. Really, his men loved him. I mean, absolutely adored him. And hugely personally courageous. I mean, when I met him in Afghanistan, he was pretty much on his own. Do you remember when we were in Afghanistan, the first major British deployment was about 3,000 forces. What you may not know is before the troops arrived, there was a platoon of Gurkhas and Henry. That's it. And Henry was going around to places largely unescorted, interacting with people, getting cricket kits out there, playing cricket with folks. I mean, just the most extraordinary stuff. When you think of the risk that British forces were facing only a few weeks and a few months later, Henry carried it off through simple force of personality. I mean, the man was a force of nature and just loved by many.
Tom Tugendhat, thank you very much.
Thank you.